everybody, welcome back to Messy Vegan Baker. I'm Christina. This week I decided that we are going to do a Halloween extravaganza type thing-ish. So I tried to dress festive. This sweater has orange in it. That's about as close as I could get. And it's cold, so I needed a sweater. I wanted to use a certain pan, I guess, that I have that I can only use for Halloween. So this week we are making the pumpkin cake. I know that wasn't I don't know, I don't have an official title yet. A jack-o'-lantern type cake, a pumpkin, I don't know. But we're making a layered cake. A layered pumpkin cake. But I have this really cute little pumpkin cake. I figured why not use this for the last thing for Halloween and make something cute. So I'm going to do a yellow cake, which I'm gonna dye orange, and then a chocolate cake, and we're just gonna do that in between. So I'm gonna do one regular rectangular cake because that's gonna be the bottom and the top. I'm using Mark Bittman's How to Bake Everything, surprise! And I'm gonna do the yellow cake and the chocolate cake. So right now we're about to do the yellow cake. So I have my pans greased. Mark Bittman actually has a vegan recipe for the yellow cake, so we're just gonna do that because it's different than what I would have done, and I'm really curious to see how it turns out. Oh, also I'm doing 1.5 of the recipe, so my measurements are a little wonky, but I'll just put the measurements for one cake in the recipe because that'll just be a lot simpler for everyone involved. Without further ado, let's get baking. So first things I did, got the pans all greased, and then I did the almond milk or whatever plant-based milk you want and the apple cider vinegar, and I whisked that together, and you set it aside for like 10 minutes so it can curdle and do the thing. And then in another bowl, I did the flour, baking powder, and salt and whisked that together. So for the flour, I highly recommend you either buy cake flour or you can easily make it at home. For every cup, you do 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So I just did 2 tablespoons and then filled the rest with flour. There you go. So I highly recommend doing it. I know it's a little bit more of an extra step, but it's not really that bad. I don't think so, but it's worth it, I promise. And then in my mixer here, I put the canola oil and the sugar, and I've been mixing it, and then I stopped for a minute, and it's kind of starting to separate again. So I'm gonna mix this a little bit longer. And then I'm just going to, what do we do? I don't know. So since we don't have egg whites or egg yolks, because we're doing his recipe, which he just completely got rid of that, we're just gonna mix this, and then we're going to combine the flour, a little bit of the flour and a little bit of the milk, kind of alternately until it is just mixed. Remember, with basically anything except bread, essentially, I'm sure there are exceptions, but for a basic rule, you do not want to over mix, okay? Okay, cool. Oh yeah, and then we have this food coloring, so I'll probably put that in last. Nah, yeah. So I'm gonna make this one orange because I think that would be super fun. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake it for, he says 35 minutes, so I'll probably just see you when I'm about to do the chocolate cake. Okay, so the first cake has baked, and the pancake, I literally just took them out of the oven, but the pancake is really, the 9x13 cake, it turned out really well. It seems like it's gonna be a little thinner than I thought it would be originally, but that's okay. So it's just the pumpkin one that I'm confused / a little annoyed by because it sunk in certain places. So I'm not sure if that's because I opened the door a little too soon because I was gonna leave it at 15 minutes so that it had enough like steam and time to bake and get the shape, and then like 11 minutes in I got impatient and wanted to look. So I'm gonna let these cool, and I'm gonna make the other cake. So I was gonna do his chocolate cake and then just veganize it my way, but he has another vegan version for that, and it's 1.5 million times simpler. And while I don't mind doing more complicated bakes, today I don't want to. So I'm just gonna do the vegan one because it's a lot simpler. Plus I still have a whole thing of, I have to frost these and cut them and da-ba-da, so I'm really nervous about frosting and layering them because of this little divot, but I think I can just fill in extra frosting and make it even, and we'll just call it good. So what I really only care about is the structural integrity. So Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing essentially. I will see you guys after that. So for the chocolate cake, it's essentially the same thing as the yellow cake. So you do your non-dairy milk, your apple cider vinegar, whisk it together, set it aside, let it curdle. And then you are going to put your dry ingredients in one bowl. Again, do the cake flour because it really does make a difference. So you're just going to do that. And then you're going to add the cocoa powder. Also, I recommend sifting all of this, even the flour, just so that you don't have lumps and clumps like I did. Yeah, and then you add the baking soda and then baking powder and the salt. And I added a little bit of espresso powder just to try to make the chocolate pop. Then you whisk that together nice and well. That's a thing. And then in the mixer, you are going to add the maple syrup and the oil, and you're just going to mix it until it looks like it's pretty well combined. It's a little harder to tell, but you'll notice. So once it's well combined, then you can add vanilla, your dry ingredients, and your wet ingredients, alternating until it is just mixed, and then you're going to pour it into your greased and powdered pan. I put cocoa powder on the bottom so that it would pop right out, and it did. And then I just baked it at 350 for 25-ish minutes. Okay, you guys, so all of the cakes are baked. The chocolate actually had more batter in it, and I'm not sure why and like what happened with the ratios, but whatever. So it turned out a little better than the orange one. I don't want to say that in front of them, but it's fine. So also, oil your pans or like spray your pans with oil, and then either coat it with cocoa powder if it's a chocolate cake or with flour if it is a white cake, because I didn't do that with the white one. And this cake is a little ruined. I had a hard time getting it out because it's stuck in the middle, even though I thought I had enough oil, but whatever. So, but the chocolate ones came out great because I sprayed them with oil and then I put cocoa powder on it. So just a hint, it's 1000% worth it. I guarantee you. And if you have a little sifter, it's easy to like sift it across. If you don't, just put flour in it and like bang it around and get it all over. So that's what I recommend. However, I am excited about the color. I think it's exactly what I wanted, and at least the pumpkin turned out with the white cake, because yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. So I'm gonna make it work. This might just be a this might be a 3-layer cake, 3-tiered cake. Right now they're cooling. I'm gonna figure out how to set them in the fridge for like 20-ish minutes, and then I'll make the frosting. I'll just like show you how I do this. So I might just end up making cake pops, because my new motto is, if it doesn't bake right, just turn it into a cake pop. Why not? So I'm just gonna go and get going on that, and I will give you the full review at the end. So while those were chilling in the fridge, I decided to make the frosting, which, as I said before, I've done this recipe a few times, so I'll just link Lauren Torietta's recipe down below. But it's the same. You have cold butter or vegan butter, you whip it up, you add some non-dairy milk, some vanilla, some powdered sugar, and if you're making the chocolate one, you add some chocolate cocoa. And when I did the vanilla one, I just added some red and yellow food coloring and mixed it and just kept adding it until it was the color I wanted. Also, if it seems too thin, just add more powdered sugar, and if it seems too thick, just add a little bit more non-dairy milk. Okay, so here I was attempting to figure out the easiest way, LOL, to put this on that little cake plate, we'll call it for the sake of this, and just kind of tracing it out and attempting to figure out how to make it. So then I would just put chocolate frosting in between the layers, and personally I would have put more chocolate frosting on there, but I only made half a batch, so if you want to do this, I would recommend making a whole batch of chocolate frosting so you can put more frosting on there. And yeah, if you guys have any tips or tricks on how to easily stack these, please let me know, because honestly I was having a heck of a time, and then I put this one on backwards, but you know what, it's fine, it all turned out in the end. So, and then not featured for some reason, I also decided to put some chocolate chips in the eyes, nose, and mouth, just so that something came out when you cut into it. And then I traced the mouth and the eyes so that I could, you know, cut out the orange cake and put it in the holes so that it's more exciting. Also not featured, I put a crumb coating around, and then I just added some fun piping around the edges. Ta-da! The end. Since I didn't film a wrap-up, I will talk about it here. So the cake turned out really well. It was delicious. but I think I can make better tasting cakes, to be completely honest, if I veganize it my way, so I will probably be doing that sometime in the future. I don't know when, but overall I'm really excited how it turned out. It's really cute. And that's me cutting it, but otherwise I'm really happy I'm happy how it turned out because I'm not very good at making cakes. I'm still a newbie, a novice, so the fact that it turned out as cute as it did is pretty impressive. So I will have this in my blog, so if you want to make this or make the cakes, go to my blog down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, hello, welcome. You could hit that like, subscribe button, and you could leave a comment down below if you want to. And if you're a regular, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you learned something and got a new fun recipe. So I will see all of you lovely humans next week. Bye! That's me. Yeah, I never said my other thing. Wow. Okay. I keep forgetting, and it's kind of annoying, mostly just from the editing standpoint. Do the easy one today because I just want to. It's getting warm in here because the oven's on, but it's fine. You can think of it as when you're walking up and you kind of see like the outline of the pumpkin, but it's really dark. Then you see the orange. It's like that, you know? It's the outside lit lantern pumpkin thing.